Hi everyone, something different in this video. As you may all know, I am very positive, very optimistic where anything business is concerned. I believe that anything is possible and everyone or anyone is capable of anything. But that doesn't mean that you will succeed each and every time. It just doesn't happen that way. Some of the most successful people in the world have failed miserably in the past. So when you go through YouTube, there are so many videos, how I make 10,000 a month, how I make 10,000 a day, a week, a minute, whatever the case may be. So here's something different in my case. My three greatest business disasters. Now, for those of you who are thinking to venture into your own business for the first time, if you've never done it before, you may have friends who are very arrogant and they'll say to you, I've never failed at business or perhaps anything else. Well, my response to that would be, if you've never failed at business, that means you have always stayed within your comfort zone. You've never ever thought on your feet and taken a chance. You've played it safe. You may be successful, but that's more fate and fortune rather aptitude and effort. So be proud of your failures. Don't hide them, because it is from your failures that you learn. In fact, you learn much more from your failures than you do from your success. Sometimes our greatest failure can be our success, if that makes sense, because it can be detrimental to us and our lives and our way of life, but it's another matter. So, three greatest business disasters. First one, many years ago, myself and a friend of mine decided to conduct an experiment on eBay. We both made eBay shops. We both made an account with a major computer parts wholesaler who was just down the road from me. It worked out perfect. Now, when we began to price everything, we decided to test the water on price. Bear in mind, we were buying the exact same product from the same source, but we were pricing it differently. And it's not a case of maybe the website looked different, because they were both basic eBay shops. Stock photos. We weren't photographing computer parts and CD writers and so on at that time. We were just using the manufacturer's stock photos. Both looked the same. And in many instances, my friend was 10% more than I was. On something of £100, whatever it was at the time, he would be 110, sometimes as much as 120. But guess who sold the most? Even on eBay, my friend was outselling me by 4 to 1. And this didn't just happen once or twice. This was ongoing for weeks and weeks and months. However, it was literally a bit of a double disaster. So it's not solely my disaster. It was a collective disaster. One, literally, he caned me. And it was really set up more as a test competition rather than a long-term business venture per se. However, firstly, my friend caned me, so price is not always the be-all and end-all. That was a great lesson. Now, in his case, he had a problem. His problem was cash flow, because at that time, when you were paid by PayPal, you couldn't use the money from PayPal until or rather, you couldn't transfer it to your bank account for about 5 to 7 days. And nobody really, apart from eBay and one or two others, accepted PayPal as payment then. So you would have payment come in, you would need to buy something, but you couldn't buy it for a week. So the idea of this sort of business without a cash flow problem on eBay, i.e. people order, they pay, you take their money, pay for the product, send the product, keep the change, didn't work. And when my friend broke 4 figures a week in sales, which happened very quickly, he had to stop because of because of a cash flow problem. So at that point I grinned. However, my grin soon changed to a sigh of despair, because within 2 weeks this wholesaler had closed down. There was nobody nearby who I could really work in my model, because the postage time plus PayPal time, or whatever the case may be, just made it really untenable. So here was a situation where two people got sales. One got a lot more than the other, for whatever strange reason that may be, but the business couldn't really continue for other factors that maybe had been unaccounted for. It was a very interesting experiment. We learned a lot from it. We enjoyed it. He won the bet. But never mind, you can't win everything. Number 2, a second major disaster. About 15-20 years ago, again, I started buying stocks of clothes to sell online, sell on eBay, etc, etc, etc. And I stumbled on a big lot of vintage clothing, and I discovered that there was a lot of interest for this vintage clothing. So I began to buy more and more and more, and a room full turned into a garage full, which turned into a lockup full, which eventually grew to 4 lockups full of vintage clothing. I then rented this beautiful, quaint Victorian warehouse and set up wholesaling, and the business literally took off amazingly well. It was just doing so incredibly well, you just could not believe. Now, there were some risks at the time with the warehouse, because with it being a Victorian warehouse, did not have steel shutters. It had those slanted roof windows down to one side, so no commercial insurer would insure the stock for theft. And with it being vintage, in their eyes just second-hand clothing, no insurer would insure it for any great value. They accepted a nominal amount, but to be honest, comparing to the fact that I at one point had 50 tons of clothing in this warehouse, it was negligible. Within a few months I had opened a shop as well. That was also doing very well. And then 28th of December 2010, disaster struck. In the warehouse, it was, as I said, an old Victorian building. There were 3 floors above, or 2 floors above, and all the pipes throughout the whole building upstairs were lead. And on the night of the 28th of December 2010, the temperature went from -10 to +5, +10, whatever it was, just in a few hours. And as you can imagine, all the pipes burst in the whole warehouse, and it was literally, it was Christmas closed. I think it was 3 days before we'd noticed, 2 days, whatever it was. Everything was destroyed. But as fate would have it, the shop that I had was a massive basement shop. It was ideal for vintage. Once again, it had 3 floors above it, and it had a sprinkler system in the shop. When I took it on, I was assured that the sprinkler system was disconnected. It wasn't. And once again, the pipes at the top of the building had broken in the sprinkler system. The water under pressure just flooded through the building and made its way to the basement. They couldn't turn the sprinkler system off because the stopcock was broken, and literally the whole shop was underwater. Everything in the shop was ruined. Never mind, I was getting bored with it anyway. And on to the next one. One night when I was just messing about online and thinking, what can I try next? I somehow, and I can't remember where, when or how, I just had an idea about just creating a jobs group on Facebook. And I thought, let me just see what happens. So I made 3 vacancies groups to begin with. 1 in London, 1 in Northampton and 1 abroad. I added a few friends and left it. More as an experiment and see what would happen. It grew with a trickle within the first few months. And then at the start of the next year, it started to grow and grow and grow. I then thought, this is interesting. I'll make more groups. So I made a group for the largest 25 cities in the UK, Liverpool, Manchester, Bristol, Leicester, etc., etc. And then I began to make groups in other countries as well. Within a year, this had literally just grown into this international monster. I had over 50 Facebook groups, over 100,000 members. It would have been the launch pad for a fantastic recruitment company if I were interested, but I had absolutely no interest whatsoever in recruitment, which goes to show money's not everything. You need to have an interest in what you do. At least I do. If I don't have an interest, I don't want to know. But this became a nightmare. I had my friends accepting people. I had them checking out posts, because obviously when you have so many groups, you're descended on by all the people putting spam in the groups and so on. People were messaging, calling, etc. Every hour of the day, day and night. It literally became a monster. Now, had I have persevered, and I did set up the website, because I thought I will set up the website, establish it as a business and then take it from there, but it just became too much and I had so much more on my plate. I couldn't cope with it, and neither could I expect my friends to put up with so much drama. So literally in the end, I just closed most of the groups. I've left the one in London and a couple of others, because the one in London has about 38,000 people. I feel that it performs a service because it helps people to find employers, helps employers to find employees. I do have a good system set up, and for the main part now it's manageable, but certainly to the degree that I had before, you would just need a team of people full time to manage it. So had that have been a genuine business with investment, then I would have found that it would have become top heavy very quickly, just simply maintaining it. However, it was a wonderful learning curve, and it taught me so much about social media and the power of social media, because social media can get you heard all over the world for free. You don't need to pay a penny. You just need to put the effort in. So there you go. They're my 3 major business disasters. I thought I'd just share them with you. So if you feel like taking the plunge and trying something, just try it. What's the worst that could happen? And you know what? If it doesn't go right, it will teach you things that you don't know now to help you succeed further down the line. Anyway, if you have any questions, contact me anytime, and I'll see you in the next video.